Even if you're not one of the cool kids on TikTok, you have seen the trend of the office siren popping up around the place. You will know her, you will recognize her. Just have a look at what I'm showing you on screen now. I'm trying to commit to the bit, but these are reading glasses and everything is so blurry right now. Ooh. Think of Giselle from The Devil Wears Prada, and also these outfits from The Devil Wears Prada as well. Think Rachel Green's office wear from Friends. Think of these runway looks. Think pencil skirts, blouses, suit jackets, tailoring, corporate dresses, tight-fitting turtleneck sweaters. She's slinky, she's tailored. This woman is in charge. This, my friends, is the office siren. So you know how corporations are trying to get everybody to return to the office, even though it's one, way worse for the environment, and two, we've still got Rona around everywhere. It's almost like Gen Z have said, okay, if I have to, I'm gonna feel great about doing it. And we now have the office siren. You know, it's kind of cute in a way, see Gen Z actually enter into the workforce, into office spaces, and figuring out exactly what they want to wear. But oh no, you've had people side-eyeing you. You've had men walk uncomfortably close behind you. And terribly, women have been making snide remarks. Oh dear, is this not work-appropriate clothing? And what the hell even is that? And why is it that you're being made to feel responsible for the fact that Jerry from accounting keeps on harassing you?
You are an elegant woman. But there is no getting around it. That dress does not belong in this office.
So let's talk about work-appropriate clothes. If you're a man, bingo bango, it's super easy to figure out what to wear. It's been the same thing for generations at this point. You have your button-down shirt, you've got your trousers, and if you work somewhere fancy, it's a suit. Sure, there may be slight tweaks to this look, but it's slight tweaks. It's not like there's going to be anything revolutionary, like allowing men to wear skirts to the office or experiment with great new silhouettes or something. The biggest step that's been taken is allowing men to wear colourful shirts and shirts with flowers on them at the office. It's like pushing boundaries isn't something that they want to do unless it's pushing other people's boundaries. For women, work-appropriate clothes are far more amorphous. You're meant to look polished and feminine, but not too feminine, and generally pleasing, but not distracting. It's a happy beige that is always smiling, but don't smile too much because people won't take you seriously. But if you put too much effort in, then you're a ditz and a slut. Meanwhile, you're actually just trying to exist in clothes that make you feel comfortable, whether that is more dolled up or if it's more androgynous. It's kind of like there really isn't a way to win. If women put, quote, no effort into the way that they look at the office, they can get completely ignored by men in terms of their ideas, and even actually actively discriminated against, mocked, made fun of. And this is something which I'm absolutely positive that Gen X and Boomers can strongly relate to, because I've worked with a number of them who I absolutely have adored over my career. I've been so fortunate to work with amazing women from older generations, and the thing is, they've all talked about this very issue, and it's not a fun one. Trying to be taken seriously in the office as a woman has never been an easy thing. What I'm trying to say here is there is no, quote, set uniform for women in the way that there is for men in the office. And the thing is that there have been articles and guidelines about what women should wear to the office for generations at this point. Like this wonderful video from the 1970s points out.
You know, I don't really think I was right for that part either. Can do better, look better, be better. That's why I changed my hairstyle and my clothing style, and maybe some of my attitudes. It's a little like growing up. Sure.
Look at that racism. Yeah, make sure that your hairstyle is white if you're a black woman, and actually, you know what, just change all of you, but it's change for the better. Ooh, we all know that if black women wear their natural hair texture to work, then they get discriminated against if they're even able to even get the job. It evolved to dressing more like a man to be taken seriously, like pantsuits became more fashionable in the 1970s, and then it went even further with power dressing the 80s. The plight to be taken seriously as a woman was heavily reflected in clothing, and this is something which is carried on through time. Forbes actually have an article from 2009 directing women on what they should be wearing in the office, and do you know who their style icon was? Hillary Clinton. Yes, they were saying that her black pantsuits with a little pop of colour underneath were the height of fashion and how women can express themselves in the workplace. Yikes. And Nordstrom have a painfully, meticulously detailed article about what you should be wearing to the office, and it goes into such in-depth detail that it even goes into measurements of things. Basically all the same advice: neutral, well-tailored, don't be too showy, length of everything is very important, and get a tailor. A sleeveless top or a dress? No, you're not allowed to wear that. Wear a suit jacket. Knee length is the only option. Neutral, press, professional. Reading any of these made me feel like I was being lectured by, like, you know, those ladylike people. Honestly, all of this advice really does stem from misogyny. And you know what's even worse is a lot of it comes from internalized misogyny, which is something, if you are new to my channel, I have a particular passion about. We can truly be our own worst enemy by hurting each other instead of lifting each other up. Not to mention if your body type is anything other than kind of like flat washboard sort of figure, because if you have curves, even if you follow all of these guidelines, you will be told that you are distracting people. You will be told that you are dressing inappropriately. So let's put two different body types in the exact same outfit, a blouse and a pencil skirt. Wow, would you look at that? Doesn't it look a little bit more inappropriate on the person that's curvier? What if we change the top to be a sweater? Oh gosh, you can still really see the fact that they've got a lot of curves here. Those are dangerous curves in the workplace, which we know is a man zone. And men can't help themselves, as we've been taught. What I'm saying is that even corporate approved attire on someone that's curvier is always going to be deemed as being inappropriate. Contrary to how I look in this video, my style has always been a lot more colourful. It's very fitted, very feminine. You know, I love 50s style. And when I actually entered the office space, you know, that was literally on my 21st birthday that I went into my first office job, okay? Why did I do that on my birthday? Because I needed money, okay? I worked in retail before. I've talked about this. This was the start of the 2010s, and what was in style was all of these bodycon dresses, wiggle dresses. Like 50s style was definitely having a moment because of Mad Men. I went to work every day loving the clothes that I wore, you know, like because wiggle dresses were in style, you know, office dresses were in style, and I loved that sort of stuff, you know, pencil skirts, skater dresses, peep toe heels, you know, like cute sweaters, like all of this sort of stuff. But I got told that I was dressing inappropriately. The shame I felt about my body from that point onwards was only made worse when I was sexually harassed after like trying to change everything about me to make sure I was not too sexual. And that still happened to me. So it's like, no matter what you do, there is no winning. There is no protecting it from like the fact that people will view you in whatever way they've decided they're going to. It will come as no surprise to any of you that I've been an agony aunt at every workplace that I've been at, especially for younger women. You know, the thing that people came to me most often about was girls being told that they were dressing inappropriately at work. Do you want to know what all of them had in common? They were all curvier girls, right? And actually a majority of them weren't white. So we've got multi-layers happening here. And try and help these people that have just been shamed by women. It's always women policing other women in these cases because men can't comment on this stuff because that's inappropriate. But then you have women perpetuating the same patriarchal rules, which doesn't actually help anybody. This sort of policing of young women makes them feel shameful about their own bodies, and they were coming to me saying, is this okay to wear now? Like, I don't know, like, who's talking about me? It makes you feel so mistrustful of things around you, and it's like, it doesn't matter how great at work people are, they will only get seen for like the things that people are projecting onto them. Policing of women's bodies absolutely happens in the workplace just like it happened in school. In school it was under the guise of appropriateness, and now it's under the guise of professionalism. I know that in my comment section people are going to be agreeing, saying that people need to dress professionally, but what I've been pointing out in this whole section is it doesn't matter if you're still wearing the professional corporate attire, people will still project things onto you. I'm not telling people that they should go wearing a blazer with a bra like I am in this video right now, because I am paying homage to this iconic outfit from Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find my top.
What I'm pointing out is that there is no winning, that people will objectify you and sexualize you even if you're not asking for it, even if you're dressing in the way that you've been told to, even you're shopping in only the places that are corporate, but people will still project things onto you and still act incredibly inappropriately.
The idea that lipstick and makeup has nothing to do with sexual attractiveness, if you believe that, you're an idiot. And so I don't mind restating that quite vociferously. And is there a place for that in the workplace? That's a good question.
You're fired. I have new representation.
Why are women wearing lipstick unless it's to attract a man? As the unintelligible Jordan Peterson has said himself. It makes me so sad that we're in the year of 2024 and we're still dealing with sexual harassment, okay? And I've said it before and I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Any gender can do this, okay? I actually speak up in meetings against women when they're actually doing this to men. But they're like, oh, but it's all about equality. They've done it to us so we can do it to them. No. That is not how it works, okay? That's not how we make progress in this world. I know that Gen Z have been exposed to all sorts of stuff because they've grown up online, but it's quite a different scenario to when you're actually dealing with this in real life and you're in a world where you are not in power anymore, because when it comes to online, you can just log off, you can literally block people, but in real life, you're entering into a workplace where there are standards which are set, there are people in positions of power that want to exert that position of power, and there are certain things which are just, oh, well, we're just joking with the boys. Oh, you need to be able to handle the heat here, otherwise get out of the kitchen, and all of the sort of stuff that I've dealt with. Sexual harassment in the workplace goes largely unreported, so even figures that we do have, they may not actually capture the full image of it. Speaking from personal experience here, if you do report sexual harassment, it can actually be a black mark against your name as the victim. The perpetrator, yes, what they'll probably have to do is undertake some mandatory training, they'll probably get a slap on the wrist, and they may have a little bit of like a financial dip, maybe, possibly, but that's about it. But because, you know, they're typically in a position of power, they're typically a more senior person or something, they've got heaps of friends, they've got all of their connections already, and if you're a younger person, you don't have that sort of structure to protect you. It puts such a black mark against your whole career because of these close connections of these rich and powerful people, that it makes it so incredibly hard for you as a victim to, one, recover, because you're going to have to pay for all your therapy and deal with all of that stuff, but two, be able to find somewhere else that you actually can work and somewhere that feels safe to work. That is so much harder, you know, and it's one of the other reasons why please subscribe to my channel and also watch my adverts, because that really does help me an awful lot. We are solutions focused on this channel, so what can we actually do to prevent sexual harassment, right? Now you may be saying, well, you know, mandatory training, that's absolutely going to work. Sweetheart, I do hate to break it to you, but it may have actually hurt us more than helped us. Harvard Business Review has actually written a fantastic piece actually diving into this. 40% of women in the USA say that they've been sexually harassed at work, a number which hasn't changed since the 1980s. And they investigated why it was by looking at US companies between the early 1970s and the early 2000s. Neither the training programs that most companies put all workers through, nor the grievance procedures that they have implemented are helping to solve the problem of sexual harassment in the workplace. In fact, both tend to increase worker disaffection and turnover. And you know the worst thing? Harassment training actually makes men want to blame the victims more. We're in hell. You know the exact sort of mandatory training that people go through. It's always pointing out that you are the problem, that you're the one that is in the wrong, and all of this other stuff. And it puts people on this defensive automatically. It doesn't actually make people, you know, want to look out for others. It makes them wary of what others may be interpreting and like, I could be wrongfully accused. A 2018 study carried out by the Pew Research Center showed that more than 30% of men said that false claims of sexual harassment are a major problem. And no surprise, 58% of women who had been harassed said that not being believed is a major problem. You'll be correcting me right now by saying I haven't provided any solutions, and I can't disagree with you, but I've got a couple for you right now. Bystander intervention training is actually one of the most successful things that people can even do. This was actually tested out at college campuses and also in the military, two places where harassment is honestly prolific and terrifying. When you actually think about it, it makes sense why this would be more successful, right? Because what you're actually doing with this sort of training is pointing out the things to look out for that other people are doing, rather than having people blame themselves. It's almost like, you know, one of the best ways to learn is to teach someone else. It's that kind of thing as well. And it makes people say like, I can intervene and actually make someone else feel better. I'm not the problem. I can be part of the solution. It's the whole psychological thing, you know, in the same way that really good managers don't micromanage and tell someone that they're doing something wrong and they have to do it their way. Instead, they're more like, oh, what do you think could work here? Oh, I've got this problem here. What do you think a solution could be? You know what I mean? It's like those are the most successful people leaders that I've actually come across in my working experience. And the second thing is manager training, as in manager intervention. So managers actually get trained on what to look out for. Managers get trained on making sure that they know how to talk to people properly. Personally, I'm one of the advocates for managers being trained far more than what they actually get right now, because, you know, things like conflict management, there are so many things that I personally think that managers need to have more assistance in. Not saying that any managers that I've dealt with are incompetent at all. It's just workplace training has actually been on the decline, as I talked about in this two-part series here, and all of the issues which have come from that. I think that both of those things could be incredibly good at helping to prevent sexual harassment from happening.
Are you wearing the
Chanel boots? Yeah, I am.
You You look good. Oh, shut up, Serena.
There is a difference between feeling empowered and being objectified. This really is the heart of the issue with this trend, right? Because we've got these Gen Z girls actually coming into the office spaces, coming into adulthood, and finding themselves in workwear, finding themselves feeling great about themselves. And just like what happened with librarian core, like what has happened with dark academia in some cases, people are actually just using this as like, ooh, this fits my fantasy. And please don't go recommending in the comment section that people should just cover up more so then they won't get objectified, because trust me, it does not matter what someone wears when people actually want to project something onto someone, when people want to have power over someone, when people want to dehumanize someone. It doesn't matter what they're wearing, they're gonna do it anyway. That's victim blaming mentality and I don't like it. To be working somewhere with people who you consider to be your peers and to then be dehumanized by them is something which I don't want other people to have to experience. And it's why I also wanted to make this video, because as Gen Z actually enter into the workforce, I want people to feel happy, confident and empowered. And I love the fact that Gen Z typically are more vocal, like every generation gets more vocal, and I love to see that. I think that is so good. I want these people to feel safe in these environments, no matter what they wear, but that's not going to happen unless their fellow employees stand up for them and call out the bad stuff. Personally for me, I believe that work can be achieved no matter what someone's wearing. Like, I work from home most of the time and I just wear my loungewear and I am incredibly productive working from home. At the same time, I was incredibly productive wearing a wiggle dress and 4-inch heels at the office. Like, it genuinely doesn't matter. The work can be incredibly good no matter what someone's wearing, and it doesn't mean that someone is a harder worker or less or whatever. I don't like that whole mentality. It just means that people like to express themselves in different ways, and different clothes make different people feel comfortable. There is actually a future video I really want to make about slut shaming in particular, and its impact not only on women's brains but also on children's brains too, because there are some studies I've come across, so let me know if you want me to make that video because I'm very intrigued too. I find it so ironic that no matter what we do to try to be taken seriously, like with this office siren trend, you could even argue about the librarian core trend too, there's always going to be people that we're not doing it right, that we're wrong, and that's the problem with patriarchy. It's only viewing the acceptable as from the man system, which works for them. So it's up to all of us to reject that. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, patriarchy hurts all of us, every gender. Now, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the stiletto and glasses emoji. And also don't forget to check out that two-parter that I did on the education system. I put so much work into that, like it's actually unreasonable how much work I put into that, and I'm so proud of that two-parter series. I love it so much, so go watch that if you haven't yet. My next video is going to be coming out in 2 weeks, so I shall see you then. I hope you lovelies have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Alright, now just remember, from this point on, we are sophisticated, educated, successful career women.